into a whole new open world where I think we can move to a new model of democracy because we have today an industrial age model. It's the you vote, I rule model. One to many, right? Everybody out there is a nerd. And it was a representative model. It was a lot better than what existed under feudalism where kings and nobles decided everything. But we can move to a new model, not getting rid of representative democracy, that'd be a bad idea. Remember Ross Perot, the electronic town hall? You vote every night on the evening news, a.k.a. the electronic mob. No, democracy is a lot more than majority rule on a nightly basis. It's one of the things about it is protecting the rights of minorities. But we could move to a second era of democracy where we have representation, but it's based on a culture of public deliberation and of active citizenship. So what the BC government just did with the Apps for Climate Change Challenge, they put out to the entire technology industry, we're going to release all this data. We're going to use the internet to open up and release every bit of data that we have about carbon emissions in this province. And we challenge you to use that data and to build some apps that could help us protect our climate.
Andrew, isn't that incredibly promising? Isn't there a lot of potential in something like that?
I think there is. I mean, I don't really see any good examples of that. I always hear these theories, but they're never actually borne out in practice.
Well, that was actually a really good example, and the main app was spectacular.
Well, then I would accept that. But I just want to take exception with one thing you said, is the idea that these political movements didn't have leaders. One of my problems with what's happening is there are leaders, you just don't know about it. One of the ironies of this world, and there are many, is the more people talk about radical transparency, the less transparent they are. For example, the two companies that most talk about radical transparency, or the one company that most talks about it, is Google. And they're, again, a very opaque company, which is perhaps why they're successful. The truth about these movements, though, is that they do have leaders. The truth of, the wiki movements, the WikiLeaks movements, the Wikipedia-style movements, is they do have leaders and they're not accountable. So I think one of the problems with the world that is evolving out of the digital space at the moment is there isn't that much accountability, and it's very hard to see who the leaders actually are. You see that with something like WikiLeaks. You see it with the way in which Wikipedia operates, in which we have this supposedly ideal collaborative structure, but when people have looked at it carefully, they haven't found them. Most of us don't have time to work on Wikipedia because you're not paid. The reality of Wikipedia is there's a tiny new elite of these people who are putting together the data, who are organizing, who are bullying others. They tend to be male. They tend to be obsessed with their own version of the world. So what I most fear about this new world is actually its absence of accountability and visibility.